This is Fintech Chatter, presented by Tier 1 People, leaders in Fintech executive search. And I'm your host, Dexter Cousins. It's a little bit of a different show today as I chat to Rebecca Schot-Guppy, CEO of Fintech Australia. Wednesday, the 19th of May, Australian fintech industry will gather in Melbourne for the sector's premier event, Intersekt. It's the first in-person festival since October 2019, followed in June by the Finnies Awards. Rebecca and I talk about the plans for the events and what you can expect over the coming months. I personally can't wait to catch up with everyone and enjoy the fantastic networking that Intersekt has to offer. Hey Rebecca, great to have you back on the show.
Thanks, Dexter. It's good to be back in 2021.
Yeah, it's and a lot to talk about. In true Fintech Australia fashion, they don't do anything by half measures. And you got an absolutely insane month ahead, which we're going to have a chat about.
Yeah, who would have thought putting Intersekt and the Finnies 2 weeks apart was doable? But we're doing it, and it's all happening here at Fintech Australia at the moment.
Fantastic. I've got to say, everybody's really seems excited about getting together at Intersekt and catching up and just seeing each other.
Yeah, the buzz in the industry is amazing. Everyone I talk to are bringing 2 or 3 people from their team to the event. And then there's obviously the banks, the professional services firms, and even MYOB, Xero. It seems that everyone's joining in on the fun this year.
Yeah, I was going to joke that even if you just had Ben Ford and Johnny Wilkinson as speakers, I'd still turn up.
Well, I have been told by one Fintech Australia member that they'll just come every year if they can just go to the VIP dinner every year. So, maybe that's not a bad thing either.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I was going to say last year, but it wasn't last year. It was the year before, 2019. But that was I think it was just another one of those kind of landmark events or happenings for the fintech industry here in Australia.
Yeah, I think that was the start of the turning point. At the Finnies 2019 and then Intersekt 2019, I think they had this new kind of energy and a sense of maturity about them. And then reflecting, we've now been 18 months since we had Intersekt in 2019. And we've since had a cabinet minister appointed in Senator Jane Hume for the digital economy. We've seen Afterpay and Zip and Indebted and Athena, Wiser go to new heights. And I just think the sector over the last 18 months has just shown, an amazing amount of growth, but also resilience during one of the toughest economic times that we'll ever see in our lifetime.
Yeah. And I think that, if we look back at 2019, the conversations that we're having as well, they've just evolved so much. We were talking about open banking, and it wasn't a thing. It's now very real, and we're seeing some really great businesses emerge who are all playing in that space. Basic, Frollo, Additree. We've got TrueLayer coming across from the UK as well. So there's a lot of exciting stuff that, things that at one time were just possibilities or, kind of ideas are now turning into real businesses that are creating jobs that are supporting the economy. It's amazing.
It's amazing. And how you've just touched on CDR, and we were talking about it in 2019, and obviously it hadn't been launched. But this year at Intersekt, we've progressed to the point that, we're even having a roundtable with Treasury to talk about action initiation and payment initiation. So, the conversation has changed dramatically. Not only do we have businesses in that space, but we're now looking at its next iterations from what it is now. And today I sat on a meeting with Treasury, and they were talking about the rules for energy and talking about the introduction of telco into the consumer data right. So we have progressed so quickly in 18 months, and the likes of seeing TrueLayer in Australia and Additree getting nominated for 7 Finnie Awards. It just shows how much that open data space has changed, right, Dexter?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, we've also seen, the not only the discussion change, but also how fast, the ideas are moving on. I mean, if we went back 2 years ago, all the talk would have been about neobanks, and now it's evolving where we're going to be having discussions on blockchain and cryptocurrencies and digital currencies. We're going to be having discussions on emerging payments technology and QR codes, as you mentioned. It's kind of mind-boggling, right? That all of a sudden we've just gone from this kind of fintech 1.0 to fintech 2.0, and it's just opened up all these amazing possibilities.
And even just the fintech's becoming more mainstream. So I'm now seeing ads for superhero on TV. I'm hearing Athena. This will tell the audience how much of a sport fanatic I am. When I listen to AFL on the weekends, Dexter, I'm hearing, brought to you by Athena Home Loans. Who would have thought 2 years ago that just in mainstream advertising that we'd start to hear members' names constantly?
Who would have thought 2 years ago as well that would see Westpac partnering with Afterpay, right? And fintech actually working in such a collaborative way with a big four bank. I mean, it's amazing, right? But all of these things,
that leads to another theme of Intersekt. We'll have a few conversations on banking as a service, and we'll also have Afterpay there, not talking about its buy now, pay later product, but talking about Afterpay money, which shows an incredible difference to when that I had Anthony Eisen talk in 2018 keynote on Afterpay and its growth and being the marketing darling. Yeah, the conversations have moved dramatically.
Well, we've kind of covered some of the interesting stuff that's going to be there for, I guess, the fintech nerds of us. But as you quite rightly pointed out, I think the real, the reason why the Finnies and Intersekt are the kind of highlights of the calendar for me is the opportunity to just go out and catch up with people.
Yeah, so you've hit the nail on the head. Intersekt and the Finnies are all about networking. And I think that is why a lot of people do come. They walk away with a new connection or a new business opportunity thanks to the networking event. So on the Tuesday night, we'll have a big pitch event for 6 of our members in front of 6 of the best VCs in the country, followed by 3 industry dinners. So we've got an industry dinner on CDR sponsored by Intuit. We've got a banking as a service dinner sponsored by Mambo, and we've got a payments dinner sponsored at Blueco. And as people that have been to Intersekt would know, those dinners are held at some of the best restaurants in Melbourne, and they're highly sought after. So I only think there's a few tickets left to those. And then we have the next day, we'll have, obviously lunch and afternoon tea and morning tea, but more importantly, we've got opening drinks at the venue, followed by the VIP dinner. And there will also be, I'm pretty sure, drinks on the Tuesday night hosted by Dubba. And then following the opening drinks, I'm pretty sure some of our other members are hosting drinks around Melbourne, which is great to see members running events in conjunction with Intersekt. And then the last night's not to be missed. We've got the closing drinks at Arbory Afloat, which is an iconic Melbourne venue on the Yarra River. Make sure everyone wears their coats, but we're encouraging all businesses to bring their teams down and have a drink and have some food. And that event's sponsored by AWS and iTalk. And, I think the 3 days of networking across Intersekt will then lead us really nicely into the Finnies, which is obviously one of the greatest networking events for anyone in the fintech ecosystem. There'll be 400 people in the room at the Forum Theatre, and it's an amazing opportunity to connect with not only founders but also our support services throughout the ecosystem.
Yeah, and look, I think it's a really great chance to just celebrate as well, right? I think if you gone back to the black tie event in Melbourne at the last in-person Finnies, and what a night that was. Remember, it was kind of like the perfect evening,
wasn't it? And it's going to be black tie again. And this year, it's pretty special. We'll obviously have the People's Choice Awards, which you're sponsoring and running the podcast for the first time in person. And we will launch that at Intersekt as well, the voting, which is very exciting. And then we'll also have, and then we'll also have our first 2 inductees into the Hall of Fame, Dexter.
Oh, wow.
So we're launching the Hall of Fame in 2021, and it's an opportunity to recognise continued success and contribution to the Australian ecosystem. And I'm pretty excited about the first 2 inductees, and that will be announced on the night on 9 June.
You were talking just before about some of the events. I think what's really another great sign of the progress of the industry, or I guess the caliber and the level and size and scale of the sponsors for the events. I mean, we're talking about some of the biggest companies in the world now who are throwing their weight behind Fintech Australia and giving their support as well.
Yeah, and we're so lucky at Fintech Australia that we have sponsors come back year after year. So a great example of that is BPay. BPay was a major partner of the Finnies in 2020 and supported us even to do a digital event. And BPay this year has come on as, an event partner of Intersekt. And obviously they're alongside companies like Data Action and Xero. And obviously the Victorian government and the Commonwealth government have also supported Intersekt. So huge businesses and huge government support, which we really appreciate.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about, I guess, what the rest of 2021 has got in store. So I'm sure you're fully focused on getting the Finnies and Intersekt to be absolutely the best events yet. But once they're done, what's on the agenda for Fintech Australia?
Well, I don't know if you saw the news, Dexter, about 2 months ago, time goes quickly, we signed a MOU with Austrade, and part of that is we will be helping them deliver their Accelerate service, which we've started kicking off with some of our members who've been accepted into their program. So we'll become a key part of enabling fintechs to scale overseas. So not only will we help them with that service, we'll plug them into our corporate partners, and we will also be running a global expansion series. So that's in the event space. We'll also be really drilling back down on our policy work. Senator Bragg will launch a 3rd issues paper for the select committee, but we'll be focusing on some of the other bits of policy work that we continue to do. So CDR, behind the scenes, I've been pushing with FData, the access arrangements, and we've had some really positive engagement with Treasury on CDR. And then some other things in the policy space that I'm working on behind the scenes are, and one is a RegTech issue, one in relation to access to the electoral roll and Vivo for visas to enable our RegTechs to perform digital ID. And there's currently a duopoly between Ilion and Equifax, and we want to be able to open that up for our other RegTech members. And then, you've been seeing a lot of news recently about debanking. And so we'll be pushing that agenda a little bit further to make sure that all our member companies can get access to basic banking services, or their companies are not subject to being debanked. So we've got a lot going on at Fintech Australia, but that's probably not a surprise. And we're also going to continue our partnership on the content strategy with AusBiz, which you would have seen.
Fantastic. Yeah, and what a great initiative that is.
Yeah. And it's been fabulous. We've done 5 episodes with them in partnership on topics from payment, CDR, fintech industry collaboration, crypto, and the growth of the sector over COVID.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to roll out some of that in August, September. But watch this space. There's lots more happening from Fintech Australia in the second half of the year.
And I just want to give a bit of acknowledgement to Kylie and Simon and all the team at AusBiz. I think they do an amazing job of really elevating and highlighting not only the fintech industry, but the startup industry.
Yeah, and they're really approachable, and they also give a platform to our members. And I think that platform hasn't been available before, and so we're really appreciative of that.
Awesome. Now, you've also expanded the team as well.
I have. As part of the work that we're doing with Austrade, we've been able to hire our new community manager, Stu Keane. For those that haven't met him yet, please reach out to him. and have a coffee with him. He's working very hard behind the scenes, not only on the Austrade engagement work, but working with our new members and potential members. And then also he's obviously jumped a little bit in the deep end, Dexter, starting 2 weeks a month before Intersekt starts. So obviously he's had a lot of work on
the
Intersekt.
Fintech Australia way, Rebecca.
Yes. So it's been a bit of a whirlwind for him.
He'll be learning from the best. I'm sure there's plenty of experience you can pass down to him.
Yes, I have taught him about jumping in the deep end and how you'll get through it. And we've now got a lot of structure and process compared to what we had when I first started, as you can imagine, Dexter. But, he's been great, and he's been a great asset to the team, and he's enabling us to do more things for members, which is what we're here to do. We're here to serve our members. Our members come first, and we need to build the community, and that's why we've appointed Stu as our community manager.
Yeah, and it's kind of amazing, the feedback, that even just talking to people as we're doing the People's Choice Award, and, I think they're just so appreciative of the focus and the platform that's been set for them, and how there's been even greater effort since COVID hit to keep everybody connected and to keep it positive and to keep moving forward. And I think it's just it's such a great vibe that Fintech Australia has kind of pushed out in the community, and it just keeps getting more and more momentum. I think it's it's great to see.
Yeah, it's really heartwarming, Dexter, but I think, that's all comes back to the effort, and you were part of that effort that we did last year, and really making sure that we put our members first, and we were calling them and checking in. And as you would know, any member's welcome to give me a call at any point in time to discuss any issue, whether that be a policy issue or an issue that they need help with from one of our corporate partners or the association. And, we make sure our doors are open, and everyone has a channel to access us in some way or shape or form.
Right. I'm going to put you on the spot now. What's got you most excited about Intersekt?
I think the 13 roundtables. This is a completely new thing that we've done in 2021. We're giving people a real opportunity to either engage with the likes of BPay or Dubba or Thrive or Birchall to learn about their APIs or some case studies. But more importantly, we're also giving people access to, real information or to help on policy initiatives. So the roundtable with Treasury on CDR, or the roundtable with the MPPA on the MPS. I think these are real opportunities that attendees can have an influence on policy. And this is something that we've never done before, and the sign-up rates are pretty incredible. So I'm really excited about those. But I think if we're talking overall, I think the most excited thing I am is to see everyone. I've seen groups of members in Sydney and Melbourne and Brisbane, but it'll be nice to see everyone together. And it'll be the first time in 18 months since the industries all come together and celebrated or chatted or engaged or debated many different things. And I'm pretty excited for that.
So if you can just have a word to Dan Andrews and tell him not to freak out if we have a few cases of COVID here in Sydney, okay? Keep the borders open.
Well, yeah, poor Dan Andrews is still out with a back injury. So, James Molino hasn't made any major calls yet. I haven't got my text message from going to Sydney last week to self-isolate yet. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, well, Rebecca, it's been great to have you on the show. I can't wait to catch up with you in person in Melbourne. And it's going to be odd, right? It's, we've been starved of events, and I'm going to have two of my favourites within 2 weeks of each other.
And Intersekt's going to have more people than ever, Dexter. I don't know what you're going to do. It's going to be so exciting.
Yeah, look, that's well, the great thing is, right, I can speak to them all at once rather than have to go for individual coffees, which is, kind of kill 30 birds with one stone, with one coffee.
Well, I look forward to seeing you at Intersekt, and I want to thank you in advance for all the work that you help us do in relation to the People's Choice Awards.
Oh, look, you know what, right? I've got to say, it's an absolute joy to do. So many great businesses, particularly the emerging fintechs, where there's just, the caliber is just getting higher every year.
Yeah, very, very hard to shortlist, Dexter.
Yeah, I can imagine. How many, but actually, that's a good point. How many entries did you have this year? Because I think it was record.
Yeah, we
entries.
it was record. I couldn't believe it, given that we only had the Finnies in October last year. We actually had 290 completed applications, which is only 8 months after we did them last year. So it was incredible, and the applications were a whole new level this year, and the caliber, the people, the leadership, I think it's getting better and better.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, Rebecca, it's been great to have you on the show. I can't wait to catch up. I can't wait to see everyone. I can't wait to see the Fintech Australia team, and I can't wait for the VIP dinner as well.
I can't wait for the VIP dinner either. Thanks, Dexter.
Well, thanks, Rebecca. And get ready for a binge listen as we launch the People's Choice podcasts on Thursday, the 20th of May. Remember, every unique listen goes to the vote count for your favorite fintechs. If you'd like to attend Intersekt, go to intersektfestival.com. That's Intersekt with a K, not a C. And make sure you say hi. Or you can follow me, Dexter Cousins, on LinkedIn and Twitter. Thanks for listening. If you did enjoy today's show, please consider leaving us a review so we can bring on more great guests and help more fintech fans discover the show. You can subscribe to our newsletter by visiting the Fintech Chatter page on LinkedIn. Fintech Chat is presented by Tier 1 people, leaders in fintech executive search. We'll help you launch, scale, and innovate by delivering world-class talent. And you can find out more at tier1people.com. Until the next episode, stay safe